Hey guys, Dr. Prometheus here, back with some more Warno 4v4 with you guys. With a little community game that we put together on the Squad Ops Discord. So we're going to have Madman Pete on the NATO side with the 5th Panzer Division. Not a Saint Spy with Berlin Command. Joe Violence with the 11th Division Parachutist. And we have Bartok playing the Territorial Commando Sud. On our side, the Warsaw side, we have Chet playing the Berliner Gruppierung. We're playing with the 7th Panzer Division, which is our first time playing with the 7th Panzer, so I will tell you what not to do in Warno. Bus is playing with the 35th Sando Stormovaka. I mean, I think it's technically the VDV, but I don't know. It's 35th Guild Guards. And then Bao's playing with the 79th Guards Tank Division. So, idea with this was for me just to hold Alpha. For here, I think Bus had Echo and Bravo and a little bit of Delta. Chet had kind of the middle Hotel and Delta and a little bit of the flank, and then Bao kind of supports through Hotel, Delta, and Echo as well. So I'm not sure what happens on this side of the map because we are in constant bit of issue on this side because first time playing a deck and well, I was terrible at it against what is a very veteran player in Madman Pete. So without further ado, let's get right into this one. And I'll show you how to not do an opener in Warno. So we're bringing in some Recon coming in. Recon playing AMAT 2 coming over here, and the BMP-1 with the motorized off-layer coming in the middle there. We're bringing in some BMP-1s. I think a lot of these are just mixed between mine and buses. We're going to pick in some T-55s. Some Cubs. We're going to pull the Cub spam, see how it works. A couple of some Shilkas, actually just one Shilka, some Motor Sturtion, kind of going through a couple Conquers, actually like 3 Conquers, and some BMP-1Ps, those T-55s, and a BMP-1 command to kind of control this. As we're going up, Bus of course has this, so his parachute portion moves over, the other one on the left side. I see myself going against Pete, and I think to myself, I'm going to lose this game. Essentially, it all goes wrong around here. Just wait for it, because it does go all the way around right there. So I have an issue, and I start seeing it here, that I should have likely pulled this back and played a strong line here. But I have a very bad issue of pushing in a bit to north. Now, Madman Pete with that 5th Panzer Division does have a little bit of a straighter shot of a road down here, as we have to curve all the way around this silly hill, which gives him a bit of time and able to get a command vehicle. So here I start thinking to myself, okay, if his line has to be here, and our whole entire plan dealt with having a line at this road. The Bus was able to get there pretty much unopposed. I bring in an Su-23. I kind of chill back here in case we see any aircraft, because I'm thinking to myself, do I want to take this down, this Alouette on the left side? That's where it goes wrong. So we get the BMP here, and we got the motorized Recon. I don't see anything yet, and that's because it can't until it can. And here's our BMP ones just facing off against Milans and literally leopards and all over the place, and it goes bad right here. This is what not to do in Warno. So the initial orders was to move over here and move up here, and well, I bottled that hard. Then he comes in with all these HE planes and completely wrecks my force here. Completely wrecks it, which is understandable. Bartok brings in a bunch. We bring in our MiG-23. Of course, there's going to be some Gephards and Rolands over here. We see that it goes a bit too far, and it doesn't take anything down, unfortunately. So that was a loss, and our Cub spam needs to be reloaded. And so I'm thinking to myself, I can still salvage this. When you have this, you can't salvage it. You need to pull back. This is just abuse to myself. And, well, he saw an opportunity. Milan's coming in with the martyrs. You start seeing the leopards. I start taking one hit there, but one smoke's off. And he has pretty good control of this. The Shoka got too far forward, and I didn't notice it. So, yeah. PH is there, and I really need to think about taking better care of my anti-air assets in that case. Bus still unopposed in the middle. We start seeing a little bit of a movement from Joe Violence out here, but also just started moving on the right side and forcing non-NSA Spy to kind of contend with him out where there's no units. Bao is kind of intermixed with Chet out here, and it kind of worked that way, with Bus able to actually hold this center portion because no one's pushing him in Echo, because we have his flank there. Little does he know we're not going to have his flank for much longer, because at this point we start bringing in some T-72s. We need to get them on the hill, and I'm terrible at hills. So thinking of this, I'm thinking, hey, maybe we can see something out here. We can. I didn't notice that I would be able to see out into this field from here, or some of these areas out here. I end up putting these tanks here, and it ends up being an absolute killer, because like this martyr can't see that, but if I put a tank here, you start to be able to see that. That martyr can't see it at all. So this pass should have been good, but also you have a dead zone here that I wanted to take actual command of. One thing I also didn't do is I was gonna push one of these units here, and I realized that halfway through the game that I didn't have any units here, and this one could have been a actual pivotal spot to be able to force them to move off this road and go this way. This could have been a good spot with that. But we start hitting the martyrs, and then we start taking some cluster rockets, which is just a bad day for the armor in that. We start seeing the Panzer Grenadiers start increasing their bit of defense in these houses. Some anti-airs coming up. We are saying, hey, we're going to try to bring these Conquerors up here. We're going to try to bring some Conquerors around here. This Conquerors is going to try to do some work over here. So we're seeing a lot of tanks, but ultimately at the end of the day, we didn't actually think about what we were facing off against and kind of targeting what we need to do. Bring more infantry off in these woods. I'm thinking, hey, if they flank on the outside, we'll lose this entire half of the map. So I bring in a bunch of Panzerjäger, bringing them over in here. They have some BMP-1s, they have some ATGMs, got that good machine gun, but also the 73 mil tank gun. It could be able to support a lot of these infantry that we're going to put in with the Panzerjäger. So we have that. We were pretty decent against some of this air as we take down one of Bartok's F-104s, but ultimately really comes in and starts wrecking our T-55 here. We try to smoke it off and retreat it back, but at the end of the day, it's just under so much heavy fire that these units are stunned. We're about to lose the BMP-1 there, and we try to back off with that. We're able to smoke with the tank before it goes down, and the BMP-1's able to get off on the T-72. So put this T-72 over here because I'm thinking to myself, I can hit that. Well, the issue is, depending on where it is, this T-72 can be hit so many different locations. It wasn't a great, and this BMP-1 can be seen from some of these positions over here, depending on where you are in this forest. So this was just a bad place, and it should have been up here with the T-72s, but we were able to stifle some of their pushes in this as we are at a +1 right now. Very close game in this one. It went close to probably back and forth on some points, but we were able to hold at least early some points here. Start saying, hey, there's an anti-air or a ATGM here. We need to take it out, as this Leopard actually is able to break contact with there. That's one thing we had an issue with. We weren't able to finish Leopards in this game. We'd hit them a couple times. We'd get them down to about 50 to 25% health. They were able to then smoke off and repair. On the flip side for us, we were just not able to hold this. The bus is dealing with a push in the middle, so he's not able to push from here. But as this slows down and he is heavily in here, he's going to start putting some units over here. So some T-64s. We're going to bring in a couple of 2S3Ms. So the Ekatasia, probably mispronouncing that. We're going to bring in a couple self-propelled artillery pieces. See if we can't dislodge some of these Jaegers, which have the Panzerfaust, and these Martyr Panzer Grenadiers, who can do some work against us. You see this AH-64 move up? I'm thinking to myself, well, I don't have any actual AA that can deal with helos. I don't think these can actually deal damage to helos. So that was an issue. As our Apache starts raining some down, which is being used to spot with our artillery. We're just starting to hit my T-72, which does die here. With another T-72, it starts engaging these, looks like possible logistical units, or there actually has infantry in them. He's getting ready to do an infantry push, and here comes the Leopards themselves. We bring in well, Bartok brings in more aircraft. We saw one of our allies' aircraft goes down elsewhere. A bit of a rotation, but not as a spy out here, and he's going to lose some units to Su-22s and Chet over here, but this kind of pulled him off the points, not able to focus directly on and through the objective at Foxtrot. The bus is doing his best to kind of hold the line, but also assist me. And we're only getting hit by Man Pete, and during this game, he was one of the, besides Chet, who was stalking on the Discord. I know him, Man Pete, and I think Bartok have regularly played Warno. So there's that. Bao just got into it. He's probably about 5 to 7 games deep. I've only been about 10 games deep into Warno, and Bus is probably about 15 to 20. So a lot of beginners on our side and a couple of veterans on theirs, but ultimately trying to hold our own. Bartok coming in with a lot of F4s. It comes over, and one of our Cubs is able to do something with it. And that Mirage 5 does get away. We're taking another one from either an Igla, it looked like. We start seeing the Leopards come across here. We said, hey, we need to respond to this. We hit one with the ATGM, and we're to a situation we're not able to pull out a lot of these tanks because I was just late on them, as we have an Mi-24D coming up, the anti-tank variant. He's gonna smoke off his Leopard 2A3. We hit this Leopard 2A3 with tons, and then we see this Leopard here. I actually did not see the command Leopard there. I was kind of focused on dealing with one Leopard at a time and trying to take it down, but it doesn't ultimately work because we get Mi-2 too close to Flaggerfaust, which is actually going to eventually hit our Mi-2 because I'm not paying attention to it, but eventually hits it. And we're in a situation where we're not strong on the left side, and so this push wasn't just a tank push to distract me here, but he's pushing infantry across this open field, and we're just not able to see it yet. We pull back our Mi-2, and there it is. We see the Jaeger flash there for a second. Alouette is moving up. I'm thinking to myself, okay, we're about to be pushed again, this time on the left. Try to deal with that rolling so we have unfeathered air access. I see this rolling up too, and I'm saying to myself, hey, we're not going to take down all of these roll-ins. At this point, we do hit the command Leopard, but ultimately it smokes off and moves back. So that's kind of unfortunate. He brings over the Apache, dealing damage to our Panzerjäger, and I'm not able to defend it from there. This Mi-24 is not able to do much. So at this point, still at a +1, still ticking up slowly but surely. Elsewhere, just kind of folding them down, folding an SA spy in. He has good fire into the flank of this push in Foxtrot. Bus is holding Delta slowly but surely, and I think we got a little complacent in Echo because there was no contact here. The fighting was mostly here and here. We start to see some slide shots here. This Leopard goes down. This Leopard 1A5 starts taking some shy shots from Bus's T-64. We start firing off with the Conquers, and it goes down. The biggest issue with that, though, is he sees that Bus is on his flank, so he thinks, hey, I need to do a combined push over here and through Bus's flank as well. So we're starting to see him plan and commit to that. We're bringing up more BMP-1s over in this forest. We kind of hold this. We're bringing a T-55 and a T-72 to kind of try to stall this line, but it is very, very difficult to do. We have clusters who we're not able to do a lot with. We do some damage with as the F-16A2 comes in. It does take down Bus's tank there. The Cubs able to take him down, but that is a big blow to the tank that Bus had, because that was a way to secure our flank. We have no recon at this point because our tank goes down. I don't think I noticed that at first. We bring in some BMP-1s, another this time a Strela, actually 2 Strelas and a Shilka, because I start seeing we're going to face more and more helos as we take more and more rocket fire. So still good work by us, but we are holding by the skin of our teeth, and it does not look well. Here is the push. From here, Pete is actually staging at this point to push up on top. And really the only protection we have is these T-72s we just brought up. BMP-1s. We've kind of not played this section of the map correctly. The correct way to do this would be to have your tanks up here, but also start occupying these buildings with infantry. Stuff like that, in case they come up, we're actually getting a deflated hit on them. Yeah, we don't do that. T-72 goes down from another Leopard, and we are hurting at this point to kind of figure out what we're doing wrong. And what we're doing wrong is we just fed Pete. We fed the monster, and he decimated us at times, and we just kept on doing it. We need to do a change of tactics here with kind of moving across, setting up a good line on this forest, and from here we should have been able to fire across and dominate these buildings, but losing the forest on the west side of the map really cut us down and allowed Pete to kind of push up his Leopards at will at us. And in this case that he does it, these BMP-1s have to actually dismount, and well, BMP-1s aren't going to do much to a Leopard 2A3 as they start hitting our vehicles. We're getting ATGMs, but I mean, that's not going to do much as our infantry starts getting hit now. Trying to get within range. 2 AGTMs out. We see another Leopard here. One of these actually hits, but we're talking about low damage on a Leopard 2A3. We see this Alouette and this BO-105 coming up. Shilka is just not in a position to deal with that. Then we start seeing Jaegers, and I'm thinking to myself, I need to put more over in this area. With this push, we're in a panic, so I bring in my SU-22. We take down one We come in and put down another, so I mean that's 2 down for the price of 1 aircraft. So we were able to take down those 2, and the push is still on from Pete though. He has too many tanks at this point. As his command Leopard comes up, the 185 starts hitting our motorized infantry here. It's out in the open. They were already stunned, so we couldn't really move them, and we're in a world of hurts over there. Still +1. We are holding by the skin of our teeth, but it's not a lot. As the infantry is taken down now, I'm thinking to myself, I need to get a block on these Leopards. So I'm thinking, hey, we need to get a Conquerors up here. It can see anything in this open field. We need to get this other BMP-1. We need to get it to where it can see the field. This T-72 needs to be able to see all of this so we can deal with that. This T-72 needs to be able to deal with anything here, and then we just get outflanked. Side shots. This T-72 cannot take continuous side shots here. We have artillery cluster strikes coming in our BMP-1 trying to hold it. There's a T-72 straight down, and that's the issue we're seeing. So this AH-64 coming on the outside, say, hey, I need to help to deal with this. And here's 2 SU-17s coming in and dealing with that. One of them goes down because they took a wrong path over the Roland and Gepard. Actually, the 2 Roland 2s. And here is the push. The Tet's objective was to secure his flank on here. Here comes the Su-22 taking down 1, but loses it to the Gepard and the Roland. Trying to see the Leopard 2A3s coming down. We start seeing the outside, and at this point, Pete, press, and we don't have much over here, and it is not looking good. As this Su-22 does not kill the Roland, it's not enough. It does go down, and that is a shame there. ATGM's going out, takes down 1 Shilka, and I start moving all of the anti-air back. As we see a cluster strike from the Su-22 coming in. Actually just stunning the Leopard 2A3. Doesn't actually kill it as our infantry and these trees get taken down. The Su-22 cluster does get out as we keep on hitting this Roland area, trying to take it down. It is stunned, so it can't move. Dire position still up top, and I don't realize it yet how dire that actually is, as we start seeing more and more shots here, and we're in a dire situation at this point. So I would say, hey, I'm going to take some pioneers. I'm going to establish a line here, and that is going to be my line. Well, I do establish the infantry, but hey, we get clustered again. And I asked for some more aircraft strikes here. This Su-22 comes up with the cluster on the Leopard and does nothing just about. The Su-24 shot down. We bring in 2 Su-22 ATs. The first one damages the Leopard, doesn't kill it. The second one takes out the Roland. The next one takes out the other anti-air. There's still another one down here, and here we go with Bartok bringing in 2 fighters. We do lose 2 of those because we end up losing another one to a fighter. It looked like now he's gonna back up. This one is Bartok. He said he had some random extra tanks there, and this is the strongest he had. So he actually puts them into the fight. And it's probably the more hilarious thing that I've seen. So these Jagers getting actually hit by our Pioneer Flames. And our Pioneer Flames are able to stun them and deal with them quickly. I'm starting to learn the gist of infantry combat, but I'm still kind of bad with it. 2 tanks are here as Pete is also pushing up his Leopards. Thinking to myself, hey, this BMP isn't going to last long here. It engages and starts getting hit there by the M48s. And at that point, plus this T-64 trying to do something. Here's a Su-22 coming in. AT kills 1 Leopard. We got 1. From here, we see the Mi-24 start hitting the M48s and stuns them all, actually, as we start seeing this. Our commandos go down, trying to move it back. We're going to bring in an Mi-24, actually another 2 Mi-24s to see if we can deal with these tanks to make sure they can't pull back. And we're going to establish yet another line. Mi-48's getting hit from the Mi-24s. And we're able to definitely defeat 3 of those. But yeah, Bartok just said he pushed it because he had the tanks. And those ones weren't really important. Our Mi-24 is still doing the work that they're trying to do. This Panzer is getting hit. We see this tornado IDS coming in, and we think to ourselves, we need some fighters. Not gonna help. Maybe our Cubs can help, because that bombing strategy of Panzer were bad. So we engage it, but the IDS does get further away than it should. We're bringing in an SG-22 for a cluster strike here. It does not kill anything, which is unfortunate. We get our plane back through. Maybe only because one of their fighters, one of Bartok's fighters, is shot down by my AA. We're holding by the skin of our teeth here. Plus, could have put it in. They have no points at this point until they make the move in the middle, and it is a big move through here when it does happen. So we lost on the infantry and the trees, mostly because of artillery strikes. We're having some shots from Bus's T-64s. They're not able to actually connect with that Leopard who retreats back, so yet another Leopard survives. As this one actually hits the Jagers, but they're taking some shots finally. With some Green Berets and peaks kind of all up here as we come back and resecure that with the Mi-9. Thinking to myself, hey, we need to figure out something. Plus the T-64s are over here. We're going to bring up some T-72s. We get a supply portion from our Mi-24s back here, so we're going to get that supply up. Start resupplying those units so they'll be ready for the next tank push that we can counter. It's been a slow grind. And here's all of Bartok's AA units. I did not realize he was doing this at the time. What he's doing is he's running this AA along this line. This line is safe to do that with until he sees something. Then he'll turn it into an actual engagement from there. Now our helos are back behind so many lines and so many Cubs from there that he isn't logically going to test that. But he does test the OSAs in the middle and loses both aircraft because they're so close together. More artillery strikes against me, which hurt my soul because that's the only spot where Bus is actually existing and helping. Not his fault though, but it should have been a better hold by me. We're gonna put some more flames over here. Our T-72s are trying to hold this line. These Leopard 2A4s are just absolutely cutting through us until we brought up enough anti-tank, which is being all refueled. We bring up another one. I misclick with my artillery at some point, and I realize it. I don't think this would actually have helped us in the actual grand scheme of things, but I think it could have actually, well, I don't think it would have turned the tide. I think it would have helped us out on getting shots on the Leopards here while they're stationary and things like that that we could have actually used. I didn't realize that that was the fact, so it was quite unfortunate. Same thing with this Conquers. This Conquers is good line of sight on one of these Leopards, but I reload them too late, and I had the resupply to do it. I had one here. I could have sent the other one back. I could have just driven this one up and had a Conquerors able to deal with some of these Leopards, but at the end of the day, I do reload them and they get absolutely murked straight up. So some pressure here by Bartok on Bus in the middle while Bus is trying to help me in deal with his right flank. On the extreme right, bow is positioned in a way to start an attack. We are somehow holding what is hotel, but what it ends up flipping into is, in the grand scheme of things, these chieftains deal with everything down here, and Pete pushing us off here kind of gave them that. Got there ahead. Hey, we could possibly hold this. It's a desperation play, but it's possible. And just tick down the game time. But ultimately, it just was not set to be so. So some more Jagers coming off the left side. We put some flames on that. Some more artillery fire, and luckily, or unluckily, still waiting for them to get back here. It's kind of a mistake on my part. So from here, I say, hey, I can't hold this. I need to secure both the hill, and I need to secure both the actual trees on the left side. I think to myself, hey, we'll bring this Mi-24 up. We'll deal with these grenadiers so these flamers can get out of here, and we can kind of hold this with that. We can get reinforcements. I'm thinking, hey, we need these BMPs supported by T-72s to come out and take the top of this. If we take the top of this, again, I'm playing the ridge on this, and it's not a smart play. Only 10 minutes left at this point. Now, NATO side is +1, and that +1, it goes with the taking of Alpha. So it was quite unfortunate. So Bus is starting to get hit hard in two places. So Bartok and Joe in the middle for Delta, and Bravo is sitting them there. Then Joe is still kind of holding a supporting role on the right side, not SA Spy. And that makes sense. As we kept on getting through this game, we actually got down on both sides of throwing everything. We pretty much had the deck at each other. I mean, that is how insane it was, and how many units were both destroyed on both sides, especially on the right. But with how long this actually lasted, this is like a full game at this point, as we're starting to see a tick 1. A couple of airplanes coming in from Bus, trying to deal with the HE and cluster. That's one down. Trying to pop around. Emerge 5 is not going to be shot by this cub because he's out of ammo. And this is the flank I'm talking about. Madman Pete comes in, flanks this while Bartok is coming from the north. And we have some real issues. And I think to myself, hey, we need to deal with this. Bring an SU-22 to the cluster. I hit one. I bring in a SU-22 with the tank. I kill one Leopard, stun the other one. I'm saying to myself, I need to put as much on that as possible. The IDS with clusters, I mean, these guys both have decent guns, rockets, and they have anti-air. And so that's one thing that's going to be insane. And the Mirage F1Cs have so many missiles. But here I bring up the Mi-24 because, hey, it's a risk. I have to do something. We bring up another AA and Mi-23 to start firing at it. Don't want to go too far, so this AA goes after the F4. Again, we get nothing here other than lose both aircraft. And it's just a bad day. This Mi-24 ticking away at this Leopard. It's not doing like a lot until that hits, which is the Kokon. He fires out another Kokon and starts hitting with the S-80 rockets. Those are out, but at this point they have moved in and taken this from a Bus, and that starts their tick of 5. So what their tick of 5 constitutes is so they took back Foxtrot. That was one that was actually contested. Delta is still contested, but we lost Echo, and we lost Alpha. So when that is the 5 points like swing, we bring in a T-72 down here, and we're trying to at least neutralize this. But what we're seeing is there is 2 neutrals at this point, 2 points for neutral with these 2. And it's a 4-point gap, which means we need to take back Echo completely. Echo being just 2 points from there, and it would probably flip. We do take Alpha back completely because his unit isn't in there. I think he likely moved it over to Echo, but at the end of the day, Bartok's still pushing. Then you start seeing units and pressures from command from Joe Violence. A lot of air support, and we weren't able to deal with NATO air support. So we begin our push over on top here. Motor shoots in, coming on both sides. We're going to support it by some T-72Ms, some BMP-1Ps, more BMP-1s, and just kind of support this push on the top. Our BMPs and our T-72s are acting as the fire support element here. We start taking these grenadiers down. I mean, this is an easier push because what we're seeing is just us isolating the enemy up here because he is worried about the actual center. We do actually neutralize Echo, but at this minute, that +5 really hurts, and if they get a +5 again, it kind of turns the tables on us. So I'm thinking, hey, I need to move out up to this hill and close with the enemy. Bus is asking for assistance up here. I'm thinking to myself, if I can flank through again, it's good. Well, hill play. Once again, you come over here, you may not be able to see them, but they can surely see you. It's a bad idea. We're gonna bring up our Mi-24 ATs. These Leopard 2A3s are coming up and starting to hit our leader here, our tank leader. I'm thinking, hey, I need to somehow hold that. Our tank leader goes down, but there's still a Panzer Fear. What was that? A Panzer Fur? Panzer Fur? I don't know. It's an ATC. Mi-24 starts getting hit with that Roland 3, and that is just a bad news bears all day long. We can't get close to really hit these tanks. Roland 2 behind it. His motor shoots in, actually overextend. I don't want him to go that far. We're gonna have to pull back our T-72s. We're not seeing anything here, but the Eternal IDS comes in with clusters and starts wreaking havoc on this advance, but we're able to be a little bit faster, just a little bit. As we move into contact, the T-72 immediately takes a shot from the Leopard 1A5. We do eliminate it, but this T-72 took a shot. BMP-1, there's no infantry down with it. We start seeing the Milans here, and well, they're going to start firing on our BMP-1. That one's going to miss. We're going to keep pushing it here. The Grenadiers are likely going to go down. They do. But that doesn't necessarily mean we've secured this, because here comes another Mirage. So they're at +4 right now. They've pushed. If we would have been able to neutralize maybe Echo, we neutralize it and it goes to what, +2, and we likely win this game just in time. With 3 minutes left, everyone's throwing their last bit of units into the fray, and it was for a complete push in against us in Alpha and a push in Echo, and then they also pushed pretty good in Foxtrot. Bus kind of had some issues in the middle at some point, being pushed out, but I mean, he held. That's the biggest thing, he held. And we did not help out the team as much as we should have, as we have artillery coming in, hit the Jaeger, as you start seeing the Leopard 2A4s, the 2A3 just coming in. We're trying to get something out here. We finally recognize this Conquerors is just doing nothing because it doesn't have any ammo. We left our motor shoots in to hang out the dry here. We smoke out the BMPs, and again, well, The Leopard 2A4s, 2A3s. Just right now superior to the T-72s, not able to really do much against them. So we're still here, about a minute 30 left, and we're heading towards Thai territory. So a pretty good comeback there to get back up into a tied process. Our pioneer, or their pioneers, actually take out one of our tanks here. We see them a bit too late, and now I'm thinking to myself, hey, I have to pull back again. I mean, this is all Pete pushing this, and I'm just not this good with the game yet. As that seed aircraft actually takes down one of the anti-air there. Strels are infrared, so I don't think they get hit by by seed, but I could be wrong with that. Setting up another defensive positions, and well, Pete has so many damn tanks at this point because we haven't been able to consistently kill them. We start RDing that area where the Jaegers are and the Panzer, or the Pioneers are. At the end of the day, it doesn't really help. It is a draw. It was insane. We got spanked on the left side. Absolutely spanked. But Pete's a very good player. So he just completely rolled over us with how many kills and how many losses he didn't have. Like, he just completely rolled over us. Looking at our kills, I mean, the Cub spam's decent, but I think you have to back it up with full supply and something different with that. And I think I have to move those around, but also support it with infrared and maybe infantry. I don't think the 20 mils, or the Tunguskas or anything like that is going, or the Shilkas I think we had in that, we're going to help as much. So you live and learn with a new deck. Took out a couple Conquerors, BMP 1. Took down some Milan, so Conquerors BMP 1 did that. Another Cup killing in a 104. This T-72 is great, but at the end of the day, that's not significant kills. This Conqueror's got two Leopards. They're 1A5s. F-16 down there. Yeah, this Leopard 2A3 down. Some Martyr Milans, Panzer Grenadiers, and Martyrs. So some good work with some units and others not so great. Still good with air though. Air, we were really good with the Mi-24s, taking out two Leopard 1A5s and those M48As that Bartek kind of threw at us in the suicide mission. This another Mi-24, the Jaeger, the Panzer Grenadier, the M48. We had some good stuff that kind of happened, but at the end of the day, it was not meant to be. So thank you all for joining me. Our 4v4 on rocks. I kind of learned a lot with this, with the deck, with kind of playing the game. I've only played about 10 matches or so in Warno, so still learning. So thanks for hanging out. Go leave a like below, comment, and subscribe. Go check out the members section. You'll have a members button below if you want to join and support the channel even more. With that, there's gonna be some exclusive members stuff coming up, some member streams. I don't know, we'll be playing probably random games, we'll see. But thanks for hanging out. We also have the Discord up, so go hang out over there. You'll see that in the description below. Otherwise, thanks for hanging out. I'm finally gonna say that we're good. I'm enjoying Warno, so you'll see some sporadically on the channel. And we'll see you guys next time. Later.